Conventional wisdom dictates that we don't alter our contracts for any reason. Usually I'd agree, but every once in a while, exceptions are made. A few years back, I received a call from the mother of a potential bride who was helping her daughter plan her wedding. It's not unusual for me to get a call from a parent if the couple are busy types or on the younger side or just plain old-fashioned procrastinators. Wedding planners have their place, but sometimes couples rely on good old mom. During our conversation, she told me this was her third and final child to get married, and didn't want to repeat one of the bigger regrets she and they had for those prior weddings, which is to say hiring a photographer that neither lived up to their expectations nor delivered on their promises. She asked me if I would be willing to make changes to my contract because there were certain things she wanted to ensure to avoid a repeat of previous regrets. Naturally, this set off alarm bells and raised some flags which are red. There are very good reasons why my contract is written the way it is. I hired an attorney to craft a contract that protects both my interests as well as my couple's, and it's specific to the business and the state where I live. There are all kinds of things in there about my responsibilities and when and how I deliver on them. Not just the final photos and albums, but also terms and conditions that stipulate copyright, a model release, and under what conditions refunds might apply. The wedding industry party line is that our contracts are immutable and written in stone tablets carried down a mountainside by either Moses himself or his attorney. A request to change the contract is not to be entertained, except, of course, when it is. Not surprisingly, it's been my experience and the experience of other photographers I've spoken with about this over the years that the couples most likely to request contract changes are either attorneys themselves or law students. I would expect someone with a background in the law, especially contract law, to scrutinize anyone's contract with finer magnification than the average person. They're also the ones most likely to request modifications to clauses that exist specifically to protect me and my business. I've been at this for a little over 20 years, and I can count on one hand the number of times this has happened, so the percentage is low overall, but they make for some interesting exchanges. One law student sent my contract back to me with entire paragraphs crossed out, initialing each change, telling me, "This is the contract I'll sign." I said no, and he signed my original contract anyway. Another attorney emailed me a completely rewritten contract saying this is what he's comfortable agreeing to which I also said no. Funnily enough, there was some good stuff in there which I incorporated to strengthen the language of future contracts, so thanks for the free legal advice there. In this case, I ended up tweaking one or two minor clauses, and that made him happy. Having a well-written contract specific to your business can save you a lot of headaches if something goes sideways with a couple. Mistakes and accidents happen. Maybe you did mess something up somewhere along the way. A good contract can save you from losing your house if someone decides to sue, and it can limit the amount of damages they can claim. It can also save you if a client comes back and says that you promised them X, Y, and Z. If they're misremembering a conversation they had with another photographer who did promise those things which you simply don't do, it's what's in writing that matters. Now, it goes without saying that I am not an attorney nor qualified in any way to give legal advice, so please do not take this as such. Everything in this video or any video I make is based solely on my experience and opinion. If you have any legal questions, you should 100% consult an attorney in your area. But this mom, she didn't have a legal background. She just wanted to make sure she was hiring the right person and wanted certain assurances if that person were to be me. So rather than just saying no out of hand, I decided to hear her out. So what stipulations do you have in mind, I asked. Her first request was that I deliver at least 100 photos. Now, I don't have any limits or quotas to the number of images I deliver, but for what was shaping up to be an 8-hour day with 2 photographers, we'd hit that number before the ceremony even started. Absolutely, I told her. I'll put that in writing. What else is on your mind? Oh, hello. Hi. You going to cover me with hair? You going to cover me with orange hair? Okay. Her second stipulation was that I have backup gear. Well, I have 2 cameras on me at any given time, and typically carry a third lens in a belt pouch. Not to mention additional lenses in my camera bag, plus enough speedlights and strobes to handle everything, with backups for everything. This one was a no-brainer, so the answer to that one was no problem. Agreeing to these terms made her happy. With that, as well as my smooth delivery and calming demeanor, she was sold. So I put together my usual contract with a simple addendum that included these 2 items. Since these were things I already did by default, putting them in writing was an easy decision. I did the wedding, delivered on all of my promises, and both the couple and mom were over the moon. I later reflected on mom's requests. They were so basic in terms of what wedding photographers do, I couldn't help but think, who hurt you? But I've been doing this long enough to have a pretty good idea of what happened. Obviously, this is conjecture on my part. I have no way of knowing what her thought process was when hiring the other photographers, nor the financial situation she and her other kids were in at the time they were planning their respective weddings. Experience has shown me, though, that if photographers couldn't or didn't deliver on such a minimum number of images, and went into photographing a once-in-a-lifetime event without backup gear, they likely weren't very experienced, and likely weren't charging very much. Whenever I come across these stories, I keep reminding myself that we all start somewhere. Many of us did start out with only one camera because those things are expensive, as are lenses and flashes, not to mention things like business insurance. But the nuts and bolts of photographing a wedding sort of dictate a bare minimum of having some there. You can borrow another camera and lens from a colleague or rent one if you need one. Hey, when we were less experienced, we didn't charge as much. Some couples truly don't have the budget to hire more than a beginner, and that's perfectly okay. I'm not going to budget shame anyone, nor look down my nose at services people can afford at any given time. But photographers who couldn't deliver on those two basic items, I would wager anything that they were hired solely because of their price point. When you're starting out, you can temper all the expectations you want in regard to what people receive from you and your ability to capture moments and make portraits on a wedding day. But that doesn't mean we should just scrape by and collecting a few bucks from unsuspecting couples when we can't deliver on what they might be expecting. When Mom and I started talking pricing, she told me flat out that my rates were more than twice what she had paid for the other photographers, but that it was worth it to hire someone with experience and someone who will put in writing those things that, based on her experience, were previously lacking. There's always someone less expensive, but there's also always someone less equipped to ensure people get what they pay for, irrespective of what that amount is. I felt badly for her that the photos from her other two kids' weddings and her experience with those other photographers was so poor that she felt she needed to have such basic things in writing. After I delivered the photos, Mom emailed me and thanked me for my hard work and the attention to detail I put into everything before the day with planning, on the day with efficiency, and after the fact with the photographs I delivered. So yeah, typically I would agree that making changes to your contract isn't something we should usually entertain. But if a prospective client has a certain set of experiences or legitimate concerns, it's worth at least hearing them out. You can always say no and explain why. But every once in a while, if the requests don't actually hinder you in any way, a small tweak to your contract might make all the difference, resulting in happy clients who will sing your praises to their friends. This is a lot to digest, but I'm curious if you've ever changed your contract to accommodate a request. Have you gained or lost a job because you either did alter or refused to alter your contract? I'd love to hear your answers in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your spending a few minutes with me. If you like this kind of video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see more videos like this, check out this other one I made for you. This is Ask a Wedding Photographer. I'm Seth K, and I'm here to help. Coming through? Coming through? No? Okay, down you go.